The sky did not tremble that day, it fractured. Beneath a collapsing firmament of black wind and devouring light, immortals and devils clashed at the edge of annihilation. Ancient treasures screamed against forbidden arts, space itself twisting like torn silk, while fate balanced upon the thinnest thread of resolve. And at the heart of it all, one choice, one blade would decide whether the world would endure or drown in perfect devilish chi. If you enjoy my way of explaining and storytelling, please consider supporting us through the donation. It really motivates us to keep creating. The silver-haired woman, Ling Long, extended a slender finger toward the plate before her, and at her silent command, it stilled its restless motion, suspended as though time itself had been gently restrained. Her expression was tranquil, almost languid, as she replied, "You truly believe I would answer you? Since you hail from the demon clans, you can scarcely claim ties with the human sovereigns. When the demon monarchs launched their united invasion into our holy realm, they slaughtered countless of my kin, and as you bear a connection to them, I shall offer no further respect to your esteemed grandfather." A murderous chill surfaced on Yuan Cha's face. She brought her palms together in a sharp clap, and a vortex of spiritual pressure erupted outward, blurring her colossal figure as though swallowed by a storm of invisible force. In the next instant, crystalline streaks burst forth from her fingertips, slicing through the very fabric of space around her. The vortex shattered, dissolving into a surge of black mist. From within it emerged a towering crystalline form, its eyes blazing with intimidating purple flames that burned like twin stars in a nightmarish sky. "Let us see whether the star-defying plate can endure my awakened strike." The giant's voice thundered across the altar as she raised her hand, glorious radiance gathering in the heart of her palm. When Ling Long beheld this, a gentle smile curved her lips, a smile warm enough to thaw the harshest winter into a blossoming spring. The serenity of it stood in stark contrast to the frigid ferocity of the devil before her. "You think you still have the luxury to toy with me? What do you mean?" The crystalline giant blinked, caught off guard. At that precise moment, the light flickering from the dozen stone pillars encircling the altar dimmed, then died entirely. The vast formation that had enveloped them fell silent, its power extinguished. The continuous torrent of devil chi that had sustained Yuan Cha was abruptly severed. Fury and alarm twisted across the crystalline figure's face. Having materialized her body entirely from spiritual sense, she had already consumed her scant reserves of perfect devil chi. The sudden loss of support was nothing short of catastrophic. She shrieked. Light flared violently from her raised palm, compressing into a beam of energy as thick as a man's leg, which shot toward Ling Long with ruthless intent. The attack drained the last of her perfect devil chi. Yuan Cha roared in indignation as cracks splintered across her crystalline body. Piece by piece, she fragmented and crumbled her form, collapsing into glittering shards. With nothing left to anchor her existence, she faded from the world like a shattered illusion. The half-channeled crystalline beam, however, had already reached Ling Long. She had anticipated the strike. With calm precision, she struck the plate before her with a silver spell seal. The star-defying plate surged in size, its surface erupting in wild cascades of starlight as it braced to absorb the attack. Yet even incomplete, the crystalline beam carried terrifying force. The plate groaned under the impact, trembling violently as it was driven backward in mid-air. A flicker of astonishment passed through Ling Long's eyes. This was clearly beyond her expectations. Silver light flashed around her hand as she drifted forward, tapping the rim of the plate to reinforce it. And then, in a display that defied all logic, the plate flared brilliantly. The crystalline beam burst from its reverse side reborn and redirected, slamming straight into Ling Long's abdomen. Shock swept across her face. Silver radiance exploded from her body as the beam pierced through her clean and merciless. A low groan escaped her lips as she staggered backward, pain rippling through her form. The silver glow converged instinctively around the wound, struggling to mend the grievous injury. Her body had been condensed from immensely powerful spiritual sense, an existence that rendered ordinary attacks meaningless. Yet this beam too had been forged from spiritual sense. It tore through her defenses as if they were fragile silk, leaving her gravely wounded. The sight left everyone spellbound. When the cultivators saw the giant devil dissipate, elation surged through them. But the black-armored devil incarnation stood frozen in utter disbelief. Through painstaking effort and meticulous scheming, she had barely managed to summon even a fragment of her original self's spiritual sense. For the stone pillars to cease functioning without a single blow landing upon them, this was incomprehensible. Suspicion clouded her gaze as she swept her eyes toward the bases of the pillars. With a probing swipe of her hand, she struck one. The earth trembled. The seemingly intact pillars began to topple one after another, crashing down like dying sentinels. Gasps rippled through the onlookers. The base of the fallen pillar was jagged and riddled with holes, as though countless ants had gnawed it hollow from within. Her expression darkened further. With a furious strike, she smashed the ground. A thunderous explosion shook the altar, blasting a crater 10 meters deep. Amid the scattered rubble, faint golden glimmers flickered. She extended her hand, drawing one of the specks into her palm. Her eyes widened as she beheld the tiny shimmering beetle. Gold-devouring beetles. You buried them beneath the ground. Her glare shot toward Ling Long in the distance, blazing with fury. Ling Long responded with a cold sneer, withdrawing her hand from her abdomen. The silver light faded, and with it the wound vanished as though it had never been. Master Sable stared intently at the now motionless plate. A tremor entered his voice. The star-defying plate. Could it be the legendary treasure said to negate the boundaries between realms, allowing one to transcend them? Corpse Jiang summoned his blood blade before him, its edge humming with malevolent power. Fellow Taoist Sable, he said eerily, do not squander your thoughts on such vain fantasies. Seven Wonders chuckled softly. Perish the thought. The devil has yet to fall. She must have exhausted much of her devilish chi to summon that main soul. Now that the formation has been disrupted, this is our chance. Fellow Taoists strike together. Yuancha's incarnation only sneered. Master Sable's expression hardened. Devil, do you still find humor in this? With your ancestor gone from this world, do you truly believe you can stand against us? Hehe. If you truly believed that you would already be attacking, she replied coolly. You have drained your treasures, and I suspect your magic power runs thin as well. And did you truly think the formation would become useless merely because you destroyed a few pillars? Her body warped, strangely reappearing before the stone tablet upon the altar. She pressed her hand against the dragon-call crest embedded within it. Black light surged through the tablet, which began to tremble violently. At the same time, black winds howled from the shattered remains of the stone pillars, rising into towering columns. They droned ominously as the remaining pillars flared to life once more, the spell formation reawakening. Stop her. Master Sable's face drained of color. Without hesitation, he slashed wildly with the soaring heaven sword, releasing deep yellow arcs of swordlight as he charged toward the altar. Corpse Chong and Seven Wonders followed close behind. Guiling swung her massive axe, unleashing spinning wheels of silver light before diving forward in their wake. Lin Yinping's sleeve trembled, releasing twin red crescents that cut through the air toward their target. The earlier massacre had driven the cultivators into a frenzy. None dared allow the devil to undo the seal and summon that dreadful existence once more. Devilish chi incarnations surged forth again. Spiritual radiance and demonic darkness collided near the altar, heralding yet another cataclysmic clash. Amid the chaos, two figures remained still standing 30 meters apart, facing one another in tense silence. What did you say? Hanli's heart sank at the unexpected voice transmission. Ling Long's gaze rested upon him calm and unwavering. I said, lend me your heaven-void cauldron. Hanli narrowed his eyes, a cold snort escaping him. I am asking why. No matter how many of Silver Moon's memories she possessed, the woman before him was now a stranger, one to be guarded against. Her glance flickered briefly toward the battling cultivators. I intend to use the Soaring Sky Temple's holy beast incarnation. The beast belongs to a renowned and exalted figure of the spirit realm. Its incarnation would serve as a suitable vessel for me. If I were to possess a human body and fight in such a form, I would suffer greatly. I refuse. The blunt rejection hung sharply in the air. What? Her eyes chilled hostility seeping from her presence like frost. Hanli met her gaze without flinching. Yuancha's spiritual sense has already been extinguished. I see no reason to proceed further. Are you courting death? Ling Long smiled faintly, devoid of anger. She lifted a finger, and an inch-long crystalline streak shimmered into existence, fluctuating as though eager to be unleashed. At that very moment, a piercing howl erupted from the direction of the altar. Devilish chi churned violently, and from within it emerged a colossal devil, 3 heads, 6 arms, its monstrous form blotting out the air with suffocating dread. Ling Long extinguished the crystalline glimmer at her fingertip the instant she beheld the devil's transformation. Turning to Han Li, her voice rang out stern and urgent. The devil has forcefully invoked a forbidden art to ascend to the pinnacle of her power. If you do not lend me your cauldron, we will all perish. No sooner had her words fallen than a deafening roar tore through the churning black mist. A dense streak of black light shot forth, aimed straight at Master Sable. Startled, the old man swept the soaring heaven's sword in a wide arc, unleashing a storm of yellow sword streaks to intercept it. Yet it was in vain. The devilish chi rampaged violently as the colossal 3-headed fiend materialized only to vanish in the very next heartbeat. Master Sable's gaze was still fixed upon the fading assault when, without warning, a black streak appeared above him in utter silence. Tempered by countless life-and-death battles, he reacted instantly upon sensing the devil's presence. The soaring heaven's sword flashed behind him in a desperate slash, and he launched himself away in a streak of light. Attempting to escape, the left and right wolf heads of the giant devil curled into cruel sneers. Their jaws parted, spewing 2 beams of black radiance. The sword Chi Master Sable had unleashed dissolved like frost beneath a blazing sun. The beams bore down upon him mercilessly. The protective barrier formed by his 8-trigram mirror and jade ornament melted away in moments, leaving him exposed. Terror seized him. He flailed the soaring heaven's sword, wildly surrounding himself in layers of dazzling yellow light, in a final, frantic defense. Then came a black explosion. The yellow brilliance flickered once, twice, and vanished completely. All that remained was a pitiful cry abruptly severed. The lingering black radiance scorched his nascent soul and his magic treasures alike, reducing them to nothingness. The other cultivators stood frozen, stunned into silence. Master Sable had endured the entire battle only to meet such an abrupt and brutal end. Now, with the 3-headed devil fully revealed, a chill crept into their bones. It was clearly a transformation of the black-armored woman. She now stood 12 meters tall. Her central head retained her original breathtaking beauty, cold and imperious, while the 2 flanking heads were monstrous wolf visages, jet black and barrel-sized, their fangs glinting with feral menace. Black armor sheathed most of her body, leaving patches of coarse black fur exposed where the plating did not reach. Her 6 arms were clad in pitch-dark scales, ending not in weapons, but in razor-like claws that shimmered with a chilling black sheen. Both her fearsome appearance and the merciless slaughter of Master Sable were enough to shake even the most steadfast hearts. Though the transformation had clearly drained her vitality, the human face pale as paper, the purple glow in her eyes dimmed, her wolf heads remained vigorous and savage. The 2 winged devil chi incarnations she had once commanded were nowhere to be seen. Evidently, she lacked the strength to sustain them after assuming this form. The cultivators exchanged glances. Seeing the devil's weakened state, they steeled themselves and renewed their assault. However terrifying she might be, none were willing to stand idle and await slaughter. Crimson, silver, and scarlet light surged forth in relentless waves. engulfing the towering fiend and allowing her no respite. After her earlier devastating strike, the three-headed devil seemed incapable of unleashing another attack of that magnitude. She could only exhale torrents of black chi and sweep her 6 arms to forcibly deflect the incoming barrage. Something's not right. Ling Long's voice rang sharp with alarm. Her figure blurred and reappeared above the altar, wreathed in devilish chi. She gazed downward, brows knitting as she examined the roiling darkness below. A crystalline sheen enveloped her body. Without hesitation, she plunged into it. Hanli watched startled. He had refused Ling Long earlier because he gambled she could not harm him. Within his flying swords, he could still faintly sense the artifact spirit's presence. Even after their souls had fused, it seemed a fragment remained his own. Ling Long's spiritual sense was immeasurably powerful, and he held no control over her, but neither did he fear her. If she were to kill him, what consequences might follow? A portion of her soul was intertwined with his artifact spirit. The outcome of such a paradox was something few could even begin to comprehend. Yet now she had abandoned all talk of the heaven-void cauldron and plunged into the altar's depths. Puzzled, Han Li shifted his attention to the pitch-black devilish chi coiling around the altar. Even his bright-sight spirit eyes failed to penetrate it. His gaze flickered to the defensive three-headed devil, then to a faintly glowing stone pillar nearby. Realization dawned. He brought his palms together. Golden lightning crackled at his fingertips, roaring with pent-up fury. A dozen bolts leapt forth, striking the 12 pillars of black chi that had reformed around the altar. Thunder boomed. Golden light flared. The black pillars evaporated instantly, unable to withstand the heavenly lightning. The surrounding cultivators stared in shock. At nearly the same moment, Ling Long's icy voice echoed from within the altar. "Xianxia, your true body was here all along." A mocking laugh responded. "My heavenly devil incarnation arts are impressive, are they not? That vessel possessed remarkable aptitude. It was worth using the technique upon him, though I could only infuse perfect devil chi into him briefly, preventing him from becoming a true three-headed Jialun war devil. When combined with my incarnations and devil armor, his full-powered strike rivals that of a deity transformation cultivator." A pause, then a cold sigh. "Such a pity my supply of perfect devil chi is limited. Otherwise, I would have slaughtered you all myself." The cultivators halted their assault at these words. Black chi surged around the three-headed devil. Its faces began to shift grotesquely. The central visage transformed into that of a horned man. Red-purple light flickering within his eyes, the unmistakable features of the large-headed eccentric. The other 2 heads morphed into the winged devil chi incarnations. 3 distinct beings violently fused into one. Even the most battle-hardened cultivators recoiled in horror, their attacks faltering. With its true nature unveiled, the central head shrieked, its expression twisted with venomous rage. The black armor expanded violently, encasing its entire body and all 3 heads. 6 arms swept through the air, conjuring 2 black sabers, 2 spears, and 2 swords, each weapon seething with killing intent. With a guttural growl, the devil lunged toward the cultivators. Meanwhile, from within the altar, the devilish chi emitted muffled reverberations, followed by thunderous explosions. "Xianxia, what are you doing?" Ling Long's furious voice rang out. "As long as I shatter the seal, my mission will be complete. Without interference from the spirit realm, this world will soon drown in perfect devil chi. In time, it shall become yet another province of our holy race." Her mocking laughter echoed. The surrounding devilish chi suddenly spiraled inward, rushing into the altar like a vortex. In mere breaths, the oppressive darkness dissipated, revealing only the black-clothed woman, Yuancha's soul fragment. Her devilish armor had vanished. In her hand she held a fist-sized orb of black light. The sphere pulsed and fluctuated in size, its depths shimmering faintly with prismatic hues. Like a rainbow trapped within night, it seemed to contain all the devilish chi that had just been absorbed. Hanli's heart jolted. A memory surfaced, the keen spirit peacock's rainbow light once seized by Yuan Cha's main soul. Could this be it? Devilish chi swirled about her as she began chanting an incantation, her hands forming strange, intricate seals. Light and shadow rippled above her body. Ling Long emerged beside the altar, her graceful form tense, eyes fixed upon the heavens in furious alarm. Han Li followed her gaze and his expression changed. Above, the confrontation between the two divine spirit treasures had undergone a terrifying transformation. The python-shaped banner had condensed into a colossal sphere of pitch-black wind as large as a small building. Countless black vortexes churned within it, mesmerizing to behold, yet utterly silent. The silver talisman characters released from the eight spirit rulers' lotus form vanished the instant they touched the sphere, swallowed without a trace. As Han Li beheld the black sphere in the sky and the identical orb in Yuan Cha's grasp, an ominous premonition coiled within his chest. He did not know her intent, but both spheres brimmed with dreadful quantities of devilish chi and spirit power. He could not allow her to continue. In the span of a heartbeat, Han Li made his decision. With a sharp motion of his sleeve, he gestured to the humanoid puppet at his side. A deep black flicker burst forth from it, streaking toward the enormous sphere of black wind hanging in the sky. The black streak released by the puppet was none other than the blade forged from Devil Essence Diamond, the final treasure remaining in Han Li's reserves. Barely a heartbeat after it left the puppet's grasp, the knife arrived before the colossal sphere of black wind. It plunged straight into the vortex. At once the silent winds roared to life. The countless vortexes within the sphere began to churn violently, the surface rippling and warping as if something monstrous were struggling to break free from within. The spiritual pressure it emitted grew chaotic and unstable, like a volcano trembling on the brink of eruption. Yuan Cha's smile froze. Ling Long, witnessing the upheaval, seemed to recall something. A faint, knowing smile touched her lips as she let out a soft sigh. Impossible. How can a single knife disrupt the black wind flag? Yuan Cha cried out, disbelief lacing her voice. The massive sphere trembled as though on the verge of collapse. Unable to continue her incantation, Yuan Cha hastily pointed at the black orb in her hand and struck it with a grey spell seal. The air split with a shriek of tearing wind. The black orb quivered and unleashed a beam of dark radiance that shot upward into the giant vortex above. Han Li's expression darkened. Without hesitation, he commanded the puppet to release a spell seal as well. The Devil Essence blade expanded in size and began thrashing wildly inside the sphere, shredding whatever fragile equilibrium Yuan Cha had attempted to restore. You dare seek death? Yuan Cha snarled, fury blazing in her eyes. She thrust her hand toward Han Li. An immense spiritual pressure condensed above him, descending like the weight of a falling mountain. Han Li's heart lurched. Just as he prepared to evade, a resounding boom split the air. Ling Long had already acted. With a casual wave of her hand, she intercepted the attack. A massive black devil claw collided mid-air with her pale, outstretched palm. Black and white light exploded outward, crackling as space itself fractured around the impact. "Did you forget," Ling Long said coolly, her gaze fixed upon Yuan Cha, "that I am still here?" Yuan Cha's expression turned glacial. She remained silent. Though Ling Long lacked a corporeal body and had been gravely injured by her original self, she was far from an opponent to be dismissed lightly. "So be it," Yuan Cha muttered, her eyes flicking toward the increasingly unstable wind sphere. "It seems victory will not come swiftly. I can delay no longer." She drew in a deep breath. Her figure blurred, then vanished like smoke in the wind. Ling Long's stiffened realization flashing across her features. Her silver hair whipped forward, transforming into streaks of crystalline threads that shot toward an empty patch of air beneath the sphere. But before they reached their mark, black chi condensed abruptly. A 3-meter-tall, two-headed black wolf materialized in mid-air. Upon seeing the incoming silver strands, surprise flickered across its twin faces, but it quickly turned to disdain. Its body shuddered, and from its back erupted a storm of razor-sharp black fur, glittering like a volley of obsidian arrows. The two attacks collided with deafening metallic clangs that echoed through the heavens. Using that instant of reprieve, the wolf dove headlong into the sphere of black wind. The sphere convulsed violently, and then just as suddenly stabilized. At the same moment, Han Li felt the connection to the black knife falter. It slowed as though mired in viscous tar. Alarmed, he ordered the puppet to channel all its remaining spiritual power into the blade, attempting to forcibly recall it. An icy snort echoed from within the sphere. The knife trembled once, and the spiritual link snapped. Without hesitation, Han Li brought his palms together and thrust them skyward. 2-foot-thick bolts of golden lightning tore into the air. The flying sword circling before him began to vibrate violently, thunder roaring between them as arcs of lightning leapt from blade to blade. In an instant, the arcs fused together, forming a 60-meter-long lightning flood dragon. The dragon roared, its body writhing with blinding brilliance. Claws extended, fangs bared, it lunged toward the enormous sphere of black wind at Han Li's command. The overwhelming majesty of the divine devil-bane lightning did not go unnoticed. The wind sphere was condensed from pure devilish qi. Should the lightning strike true, it would surely dissipate unless Yuan Cha possessed yet another hidden stratagem. Ling Long, still locked in combat with the black fur projectiles, gasped upon witnessing the lightning dragon. Though she had inherited Silvermoon's memories and understood the reputation of the divine devil-bane lightning, this was the first time she had seen its might with her own eyes. Even she was shaken. Within the sphere, the two-headed wolf had restrained the devil essence blade in a viscous, transparent ooze. When it beheld the golden dragon descending, its eyes flushed crimson. Both heads opened their jaws simultaneously. Twin beams of red light erupted forth. In the blink of an eye, lightning and blood collided. Thunder exploded. The scent of blood filled the air. The crimson radiance formed from the wolf body's very blood essence barely managed to stall the advancing lightning. Dragon! Ling Long's face darkened the instant she saw the red light. "You dare destroy my body in such a manner," she shouted, fury rippling through her voice. The blood essence belonged to the wolf incarnation, once her own vessel. To expend it so recklessly was nothing short of sacrilege. "Why should I spare a body whose master is already dead?" Xianxia sneered, but her voice was noticeably weaker than before. Ling Long's expression twisted with rage, then gradually stilled. "How arrogant," she said coldly. "Your spiritual sense has already fallen below the deity transformation stage. Even if you detonate the black wind flag, will you truly be able to shatter the seal?" Xianxia lowered her gaze to the orb of black light floating above the altar. "Shouldn't you already know the answer?" she replied with a sinister smile. The orb had been continuously feeding the wind sphere with devilish qi. Now she made her move. The enormous sphere flared with dazzling black brilliance. A shrill whistle pierced the air as all the vortexes within it merged into a single, massive vortex 30 meters across, shimmering with eerie light. At its heart, the two-headed wolf exhaled streams of black radiance onto a small black flag. Moments later, an astonishing spiritual pressure erupted outward. Clouds of rainbow light spilled from the vortex. Wherever the prismatic radiance passed, it reduced matter to drifting specks of dust, only for those specks to be drawn back into the vortex, amplifying its power further. The lotus form of the eight-spirit ruler trembled in response. Its silver light faded, shrinking back into the shape of a small green wooden ruler. With a resonant cry, it summoned 8 spirit beast phantoms, which surged forward without hesitation into the mist. Ling Long's expression changed drastically. She formed a hand seal and spat out the star-defying plate from her mouth. With a flick of her finger, she sent it spinning into the air, where it rapidly expanded to 3 meters in diameter. She pressed her palm upon its surface, crystalline light blossoming from her body. Golden starlight ignited across the plate's surface, stretching outward in radiant threads. The two-headed wolf glanced downward at her efforts, its gaze dripping with contempt. Meanwhile, vast torrents of white light poured into the vortex. The surrounding space began to distort, wrinkling like crumpled parchment. The closer one drew to the vortex, the more violently space twisted and warped. Hanley felt a chill seize his lungs. He had witnessed spatial tears before, immense and catastrophic. Without hesitation, his body blurred as he retreated as far as possible within the sealed chamber, the puppet following close behind. At the same time, he transmitted several urgent voice messages. Giling and Lin Yinping, who had been locked in stalemate with the three-headed devil, frowned upon hearing him. They immediately disengaged and withdrew toward the rear wall. Corpse Xiong and Taoist Seven Wonders had likewise overheard Yuan Cha's exchange with Ling Long. Observing the ominous transformation of the vortex, they understood that the situation had taken a disastrous turn. Following the two women's retreat, they too withdrew in streaks of light. The three-headed devil, suddenly deprived of its opponents, paused in confusion. Then it erupted into fury. Its figure blurred and reappeared before Taoist Seven Wonders in an instant, weapons flashing. An explosion of black light forcibly blocked his path. Whether due to the short time the large-headed eccentric had spent as a devil, or the corrupting influence of becoming an elder devil, the creature displayed little cunning. Fixating upon Seven Wonders, it blinked repeatedly, pouring forth magic power without restraint as it pursued him relentlessly, preventing him from straying far from the altar. Seven Wonders' heart sank. If you loved this story, please consider supporting us through the donation link below. Your support allows us to keep bringing you the best and most immersive video. We truly appreciate you being here with us.